Hello, welcome to Wondermous, a healthcare leadership journey. My name is Merikay Hunt, and I'm your podcast host. I'm founder of Coach MK Companies, and we're a firm dedicated to creating catalysts for change. And we have a catalyst for change on our show today. Please welcome Dan Stachelski. Dan, please share with our audience a little bit about you, your organization, and your background.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. As she said, my name is Dan Stachelski, and I'm the founder of ICAN, which is a pediatric outpatient clinic for kids on the spectrum. Primarily, we do see kids with a range of different disabilities, but primarily we serve that population. My background is in speech pathology. That's kind of where I got the idea and got my start. And I just loved working with the families and the kids that were affected by this, and I've just been fortunate enough to develop a career and a business around supporting individuals who have differences.
And so when did you start your organization, and share with people a little bit about what worked well when you were beginning and what some of the challenges that you overcame?
Gosh, I have to reveal my age a little bit here. Yeah, I started it 18 years ago now.
Okay.
And the funny thing about it is I started it in my car. I used to
Nice.
drive, people talk about businesses starting in garages. I started in a car. And actually, I remember the specific car was a Hyundai Accent, and it was a great first car. But I did get made fun of because every time I stepped on the gas, the car sounded like it was like a rocket ship, but it wasn't going anywhere. So that is
You know
actually
an
where it's.
entrance.
Yeah, of course. But everybody has to start somewhere. So I used to travel around in home and provide services to kids um, in their homes. And what I found was there were all of these different disciplines coming in. Nobody was talking to each other. Nobody's coordinating with the family.
Hmm.
People were stepping on each other's toes. And it was
Sure.
really a nightmare for the parents and the caregivers that had these kids. And so the idea was having a central spot for them to get all the essential services in one place. Everything was coordinated. And that's kind of how it started. And it's gone from myself and my Hyundai to I have multiple locations out in the Washington State area, and we serve about 500 active patients at a time and schedule about 30,000 appointments a month. So
Wow.
we serve a lot of kids very intensely, and it's been a privilege to be able to do this.
So what's been one of your learning lessons as a business person delivering these healthcare services?
What can go wrong will go wrong. It's just part of the process. I think that you're going to experience those things no matter what.
Hmm.
And it's very humbling. I think being in business is a very humbling experience because as soon as you think you've got something, something can fall apart. Something even externally can influence what direction you need to take. And so you have to be nimble and adjust to what's coming your way.
Sure.
And I think that's something that most people have to be aware of when they do this is you have to be able to adjust to what's happening.
What inspired you to go into speech therapy? What was kind of that catalyst moment for you?
Mhm. Yeah, I always wanted to do something that helped people. I feel like this world can be made better. And unfortunately, I'm naive. Well, fortunately, I guess I'm naive enough to think that I'm the person that can make that impact.
Mm,
And I just kind of fell into it. I love the medical aspect of it. I love working with people. But I knew that I also didn't just want to be able to support one kid at a time. I wanted to be able to
mm.
support a broad group and really have an impact on a broader scale. And so that's kind of where the entrepreneurial side of me came into play. And I really emphasize expanding beyond myself, bringing on people that believed in the vision that I had, and really trying to establish, a footprint that's not going to
Nice.
just make an impact locally, but on a global scale.
Oh, I love that. And so when you think about the entrepreneur side and even the healthcare side, who are some leaders that you looked up to and that influenced you?
Yeah, I think the primary person that I have looked up to for a long time he's now a friend of mine. Was a coach. I started with a coach after about 3 years in business,
Hmm.
and I think there's a lot of lessons to learn in the beginning, and a lot of failures and adjustments. And I think at some point along the road, you have to have that mentor and coach that helps guide you,
Hmm.
because we all have great ideas, but how do you execute those things? How you know
Sure.
what levers to pull, where to push, where to slow down. And I think his name is Kurt Lemaster, and he's been a tremendous coach. And now he's actually a personal friend of mine that I get
Nice.
together with routinely. Um, and he's been in business for, gosh, many, many years, even prior to my work with him. And so his success in actually various industries is the reason why I chose him and why I think I've been so successful working under him. He's a mentor and somebody I definitely really look up to.
So if I worked for you and I were going to describe your leadership qualities, what would I say?
That I am somebody who's creative, and I want to see a creative process work with the people that I work with.
Mm-hmm.
When I enter a room, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be able to have people who are different from me,
Mm,
um, because I think that's how we are able to move things forward. It's not just my idea that's the right idea. It's the difference in people's viewpoints that makes us successful.
sure.
You'll see that I want you to do your best. And so I think an important component of leadership is having candor with people in a respectful way. So the two things that I think are important are candor and respect. And I think if you don't have one or the other, it's not going to be a successful relationship. And
Sure.
so I do give feedback. I also request feedback because I think it's
Mm,
a symbiotic relationship. I think we both improve and grow that way. And I think that you'll find that I'm a growth driven person. Internally for the organization, for you, it's really about kind of pushing ourselves to that next level.
I
And I
like
think
that.
that,
So when you think about 2026, what's around the corner for you and your organization?
I think we're in a very unique time. I think with the push for technology, flexibility, and in lifestyle, in fact, and the fact that actually a lot of people are starting to move away from healthcare is really forcing innovation to happen where you have to incorporate technology into your service delivery. And so I think marrying those two things is a huge part. It can create flexibility for a lot of people. We also have to find ways to serve more kids with fewer staff. And I think that that's the direction that healthcare is taking. And I think we're seeing the adoption of that happen at a more rapid pace right now, more than any time in the past.
Hmm. It made me think of core values for an organization. And I've done this exercise for healthcare organizations and, companies throughout the years, but I actually invested time to do it for my company, Coach MK Companies, a couple of months ago. And when I, identified these 7 core values, transformation was one of them, right? Because I really want to help people go from point A to point B and that next level. And that's really what your organization does for these kids. So when you think of core values for your company, what kinds of things come to mind that you feel like are 2 or 3 of those values that everybody embraces to be at their top performance?
Yeah. Play together. Like we have values that we start with play. Play
Mm-hmm.
big, play fast, play with courage, play with purpose, play together. Those things all align around the fact that we are aligned on this one vision, and these values that exist in our organization. And when we
Mm,
have harmony in those things, that's when we achieve this peak performance. Um, it's when we have alignment. And values are those things that whether I'm at the office or not, leadership's at the office or not, those are the things you see, you experience every day at our locations and with the people that we have.
oh,
Um,
I love that. I don't know if you've ever heard of Pike's Place Fish Market.
yeah, of course, yeah.
But there's a gentleman that wrote the fish philosophy. And what he did is he actually went out there and watched how, Pike's Place Fish Market, their employees interacted. And the owner at the time, he said, sales are kind of flat. We got a lot of competition. We need to kind of reinvent ourselves. And so they created the fish philosophy, and it's be present, make their day, have fun, and smile.
Hmm.
And when you were saying play and all the other components, it made me think of that because, people want to work for an organization where they're inspired and they're doing something with purpose and meaning, where they feel like they're cared for and they're thriving. And it sounds like that you all have created that culture. So, what do you think your employees are saying about working for you and your team?
I think primarily it's fun. I mean, where else can you go to work and you play with kids all day? So I think that's an important aspect of what we do. Of course, there are challenging situations, but like we're
Sure.
having fun doing this process of helping people. And I think even the work that we do with the challenges, like we're lucky to be able to come and be able to address those things and have those
Hmm.
things on our plate. And it's a fun process to go through as a team where you start with like, we think it's going to go this way. And then it
Right.
ends up being a full 180 where it's like, okay, now it's actually going to be this. And I think that creative process and having fun like that is a core of what you might hear our staff say about working
Mm,
there. There isn't something we haven't really looked at trying. And so we take people's interests to heart and try and align the organization's goals with theirs.
hmm
So you'll see somebody that's gone from like an entry level position to now they're in leadership
mm,
through the programs they develop. We have a game development program, and we have partnerships in the community. So I think just that whole approach of creativity and fun in the process of doing this, I think is something that resonates with the team that we have.
awesome. So I'm a big fan of goals. I like kind of short-term goals, 3 to 6 months, long-term, 12 months to 3 years. So looking at some long-term goals for your organization, what do you guys have planned?
Very big things. Definitely like the big, hairy, audacious goals. I think those are the best ones. And if you're not pushing yourself, I don't think you're doing the right things. So we do want to have a presence internationally. We
Okay.
are we are working with Saudi Arabia right now, and actually working in France to establish more services in those areas. So that is in line with what our vision is. Our strategic goal was for 5 years is to have that presence,
hmm
and actually adding locations not just there but across multiple states, and primarily virtual services because brick and mortar is just challenging to do. So we have a
Sure.
lot of technology integration, but also we see that the service delivery model that we provide can benefit a lot of people. And so that is the big picture. And that's big. That's a big thing for us to do. And I think, people strive and want to shoot for those big things. And I love talking about it. I can talk about it all day. I love it. And I think we're all excited to accomplish those things.
Well, I think it's awesome because when we're on fire for what we do, then it doesn't seem like work. And the companies I've worked with over the years, the ones that have that steady plan of growth, even if it's big and if it's large and involves, multiple locations or multiple different avenues, when it's purposeful and when it's steady and when they have buy-in from the team, I think that's really what can give it an edge. So how do you create this culture of buy-in to your ideas? Are you scaring people with your growth goals?
Uh, I have fear about it. I mean, again, I don't think if you're scared, those scared about it, I don't think it's big enough.
Yeah.
Um, and there's always a lot of stakes involved in those things. But again, it's that privilege to be able to do that. And I think when you have that and you have people that align with that and want to accomplish big things, like that's how it happens. It's the magic of making it happen. Um, it's you want to be a values-based organization, right? And it's interesting the progression of being able to wrap your arms around everybody to not be able to reach everybody,
Right.
the less influence you can have further down in the organization. And so you have to have good people that can carry that down. They're stewards of your organization, stewards of the
Sure.
values. And so that's how we try and drive that connection with what we're trying to accomplish, who we are as a company, what's our culture, what do we look like every day as a team. And I think that's how we've been able to do it is finding the right people to carry that message forward.
hmm
Um, no, not trying to scare anybody. Definitely want to inspire people, and actually celebrate the things that they accomplish, right? Because
Yeah.
the more they have success, the more we have success. And so I talked about those programs. When they do those things, they're successful at those things. It's a big win for
Well,
every.
and sometimes we got to feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, courage, right?
Well, and that's that growth mindset, willing to
Mhm.
take risks, right? So,
Yeah.
when you think of your leadership walk, what's been like a leadership learning lesson that's really made an impact for you over the years?
There have been so many, so many. I leadership lesson. There's kind of funny stories along the way, and then there's like the serious, like, oh, I get it now.
Give me one of
Um,
each. Give me a humor
right.
story and give me a serious story.
Well, it was when we were doing the very first build out of the first space that I opened, and I was doing a lot of the work myself. Well, we were painting inside, and the place we were in didn't have the windows that open, and we could have opened the front doors, but we didn't, and so the fire alarms went off, the fire trucks came, the owner of the building came before we even started, and it was like, yeah, Probably shouldn't have done it that way.
Oh
Probably
my
should have done more
goodness.
planning
More
um,
planning.
ahead on that one. But I think that, I really, I think you have to go through the process, the pain points.
Hmm.
And, it's not uncommon to hear people say, like, I just want it to be better than the way I had it. But the thing is, you are where you are because you had those things. And so as much as I want to try and control every single aspect of what we do and all the outcomes, and it's going to go perfectly, just understanding that it's things aren't going to go the way you think they are, and then it's okay. Um, and the presence you have around communicating that to your team is essential, because as soon as they see you flip out, it's over with. um, so yeah, of course, internally it's like, oh my gosh, but externally it's always calm. um, and things happen. I think that's a big
Sure.
thing, is just you just have to realize that things are going to happen.
So, one of the things that's been top of mind for a lot of the leaders that I talk to is having that work life integration, or kind of that work life counterbalance, because we really can't have a lot of balance sometimes. We just have to look at certain areas that need more focus this time, and maybe some other areas might not get as much attention. But what do you feel like you do personally to achieve that work life integration?
Yeah, I think, to a fault, I'm very driven to work. So sometimes I kind of lose sight of, like, what's the other side of this. But overall, I actually view it a little bit differently than what's commonly heard. I don't think it's work-life balance. I think it's life balance.
Mm,
And the simplest way that I'm able to put this is that you don't go to work and die.
yeah.
Like, you are live at work. It's a part of what you do every day, and it's a part of
Mm,
your life. Everything, it's not a perfect, pie where you get to carve out all of these different sections perfectly. And most of the time, balance is just not having one of those pieces out. I think the fastest way to burn out is to leave one of them out. And I think you do have to acknowledge that, but at the same time, sometimes just balance is just keeping the scale off the floor on one side. And that's just the reality of creating business, of trying to do big things. I think as long as you have support people around you, family, friends, that help you kind of live your life too, I think that is a critical part of how you achieve that level of balance, where you don't lose yourself in the process.
So
Because
you
it
strike me as someone that handles stress and worry very well. Maybe on the outside, what's your secret to control stress and worry?
uh, you know, I just resilience. I mean, you try things, it doesn't work, and that builds resilience. And you adjust and you adapt. You don't just say, "Oh, it's over with." You keep fighting. And I think over time, you just get accustomed to the fact that, like, it's not going to go right, and you just figure it out. There's, like, when you're sitting in the seat at the top, it's like no one else is going to do it but you. So you just have to do it. I kind of equate that a little bit to parenting. It's like you're never ready. You just have to do it.
Oh, I know. I remember when I had my first child, I'm like, they give you no manual. I'm like, I've read all these books for professional development. There's no manual that teaches you how to parent. So yeah, talk about fear and being scared. Woo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I thought I was
Well,
prepared.
yeah. Well, and here again too, it's like sometimes we have to monitor how much weight and pressure are we going to give a thing, or give an instance, or give an occurrence, because oftentimes let's just learn from it, move through it, and move forward, so that we don't let either past mistakes or even, challenges or issues, they don't define us. What defines us is how we carry ourselves and how we handle it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Everything has an arc, right? And
Yes.
so it's just getting through that arc. Yeah, that's a good.
Exactly. So, as we come in for a landing, one of my favorite questions, if you were going to talk to your younger self and give your younger self words of wisdom, what would you say?
Gosh, this question, I love this question. And at the same time, I'm like, gosh, I wouldn't change anything. That's the thing that is wild, is that, again, I don't think I would have learned as much as I learned and be where I am if I didn't go through the same things.
Yeah.
I think at certain times I would have been on my shoulder and said, "Don't say that." Because sometimes what I said, because it could have caused more problems. But but again, it's all a learning process and a growth process. And
Mm,
it's that thing where it's like, we have hindsight bias and we have recency bias, and you just have to go through it. And maybe that's what I would say is like, you put so much pressure on yourself and you want to do things perfectly, but you just have to go through it and you're going to be all right. You're going to
absolutely. A
figure it out.
colleague of mine, Steve Gilliland, wrote a book, Enjoy the Ride. And I'm glad that you are enjoying the ride, your team and your organization. So, Dan, thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
My name is Merikay, and again, welcome to another issue of Wondermous, a healthcare leadership journey. I hope that you'll like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more stories about growth, change, and impact in healthcare. Blessings to you, and make every day count.